If you keep saying yes to everything, eventually you'll say no to yourself. What up, y'all? I'm Jamai, and this is Manifesting Stardom, my journey to being the biggest star in the world. You already know what it is. This is my life, my journey, my journal, and I'm taking y'all on the ride with me as I climb the top. And one of the biggest things we need to talk about today is a topic that I know I struggle with. This is probably, once I get this down pat, I'm honestly might be a perfect human being. Like I might not have any flaws once I lock this down. It's probably my biggest setback, and it is my ability to say no and keep my no. Because a lot of times, because I'm an artist, that means I'm very sensitive. That means I can feel energies. That means I am forward thinking in ways that a lot of people aren't. And for the people that I love, the people that are close to me, I typically can feel them or feel anybody, you know, as good as someone else. And so I'll say no, but sometimes you ask me a second or third time, I rationalize on the fact that maybe I could do this, maybe I can say yes, maybe I don't want to be a jerk, especially with the history that I have of people thinking that I'm arrogant, people thinking that I'm selfish or self-centered. The that has birthed this weakness in me to like kind of people please, because it's like I know people already say I'm a jerk. People already say I'm this. They already say that. So let me say yes to try to subconsciously, persuade people into thinking that I'm not a jerk. But the reality is, the more you learn, especially when it comes to people pleasing, the more yes you say, the more yeses you give, the more they'll take advantage of you, and they still ain't gonna change their opinion about you because it's their opinion. It's through their lenses. It's not based off of you. And so we have to get to a space where we value ourselves, our lives, our careers, our passions more than we value how people perceive us, or even more importantly, more than we value letting people down. And I think that is a big one, because if you're somebody like me, you're big on integrity. You're big on character. I'm not perfect. I'm not holier than thou, but I am big on showing up for people. I am big on saying I'm going to do something and then following through. I'm super big on that, because I know that when you do that for people, you stand out, because that's such a rare trait in today's society. But along with that, you have to also understand that it is your right to tell someone yes and then change your mind and say, I'm not doing that, or I don't want to go, or I don't want to do that. And it's also your right to say no if you don't want to do something, and not have to give a reason or be guilted into why you said no. So I think that's the part that I'm really learning, that I'm still like struggling with, but that I'm getting, is that eventually I'm gonna say yes so many times that I won't be able to say yes to myself, and that I'll literally be picking other people's preferences, lives, things that they want to do over the things that are important to me. And when it's all said and done, sometimes these people, a lot of times people, especially if they care about you, a lot of times people are thinking about themselves in the moment, but because you haven't stuck up for what you value or haven't shown what your boundaries are, they don't even know what the boundaries are, because you haven't shown them. So a lot of times, sometimes when you communicate or when you're consistent, people aren't as offended or aren't as negative about it as we assume. They may not be as disappointed. So I got 3 points that I want to hit. And the first point is, every yes costs you something: time, energy, focus, money, peace. Every yes spends something. So the question isn't just, can I do this? But the question is, what am I saying no to be able to say yes to this? Every time you say yes to something, every time you go out for happy hour, every time you spend that time, watch that movie, go to that party, go to that event to try to show up for somebody, you're saying no to something. And so it's up to you to decide whether in that moment that no is worth it, or that yes is worth it. Because if you anything like me, we already limited on resources, we're already limited on time, and so we have to truly dedicate our most valuable assets to the things that'll get us moving forward. Of course, there's a time and a place. You still want to be a dependable friend, brother, cousin, partner, all those different things. But you also still want to show up for yourself, and you don't want to be taken advantage of. And you have to show people what boundaries are. People will not think that you are, they won't think nothing of it inviting you out on a Saturday night if you typically go out on Saturday nights anyway. They won't think nothing of it if they ask you to do something and you say no, but they typically see you doing the opposite. So it's like we have to show people how to treat us. We have to show people, and that's with the clause, because you are allowed to do something one day and decide to do something another day. But I think a big part of it is we think we're nervous about disappointing people, when in all actuality, if we were just consistent, they wouldn't be as disappointed. That's just like, when people know who to call, they know who to call that's going to say yes to this favor. Somebody need a ride. They need a ride from work, or they need somebody to pick them up or take them to run errands. They're going to call the person who's most likely to say yes before they call the person who's most likely to say no. It don't matter what their relationship is to that person. It doesn't matter, whatever. They're going to call who the most likely to say yes. And if you're the person at the top of that list, they're going to call you because you're most likely to say yes. But if you're the most likely to say no, you might be the last person they call, because before they even think about it, they be like, I ain't even going to call Jamai because I know he ain't going to do it. That's where we need to get to. We need to get to the space where people only call us when they really, really, really need us. People only depend on us when they really, really know it's something dire. You know what I'm saying? Scripture for that is Ephesians 5:15-16. It says, be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. We got to be serious about our time, because our time here on earth is limited. We only got 24 hours in a day. We're aging. We ain't getting no younger. We got dreams. We got dreams. We got ideas. We need to seriously focus and prioritize that. The second point, your no does not need an explanation. Remember when you was a kid and you asked your mom, can you go somewhere or do something? And she said no. And then you say, why? And she said, because I said so. We need to get in our because I said so bag. We need to say no. And when somebody asks us, you say, because I said so. Or you find a way to stick to being a broken record of no. Because what happens is, I know with me, somebody asks me something, I say no, and then I explain why I said no. Sometimes before they even ask me why, then I'll explain why to try to get some grace from them. And then they'll ask me again, and then I'll relent and say, okay. Or because I always feel like, or I've made it in my mind, I made this make sense, that if this pushes me back on my work, or if this pushes me off schedule, I can regain it. I'm pretty big on, like, I'll eat it. Like, whatever the hard part is about something, I'll take the challenge, because I would much rather get through this hard moment, or get to the next phase of whatever. And if that means I gotta eat something, or I'll just be the bad guy, or I'll just take it on, then I'll do that. So a lot of times when people ask me something and I say no, then they ask me again, then I'll explain why I'm saying no, or what I don't want to do. And then if there's any more pushback, I'll just eat it, because whatever inconvenience me, I'll just take it on the chin. I'll carry everybody on my back. And that's kind of how I handle a lot of situations, but that's not always the best thing. And it's really not valuing your own self, your own time, your own values, because truth for the matter is, you can't. If there's only 24 hours in a day and you spend time doing something where you were supposed to do something else, you can't get that time back. You can't, you're literally denying what it is that you need or want to do for someone else. And the truth of the matter is, we subconsciously feel like this is going to ruin a friendship. This is going to ruin a relationship. This is going to make them not like me. This is going to make me a bad brother, a bad son, a bad husband, a bad whatever. When in all actuality, if you've been a good person, you'll still be a good person. And if they love you, they'll adjust. You know, the scripture for that is Matthew 5:37. All you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. Some people will keep asking because they're hoping your boundary eventually gets tired. And that's the truth, because most of the time, your boundaries do relent. Most of the times we explain why we say no. Most of the times, if we get enough temper tantrum or enough pushback or enough manipulation, we relent. Become a broken record, though. Just say no. Just say no. They ask you a different kind of way. I understand that, but I don't want to do that. I understand that, but I'm not going to do that. I understand that, but I don't feel like doing that. Become a broken record. They ask you 5 times, you answer 6 times with the same thing. And I'm at the top of the list. This is something that I'm going to try because I know I need to do better with this. Because usually for me, it's not so much as the no, but it's the guilt that I feel after I say no. After I've let somebody down or after I've disappointed somebody well within my rights, I feel guilty, like, oh, I'm the one that got the stick up there. I'm the boring one. I'm the old one. You know, all my friends know I'll be going to bed. Like, I go to bed early, 8:30, 9 o'clock, 10:30 is like late for me. So they all call me grandpa. But it's like sometimes I'll do stuff. But if you know me and you love me and you know what I'm doing and you admire my work ethic and my diligence, then why would you try to pull me away from that anyway? You know what I'm saying? So become a broken record, man. Not today, not tomorrow, not right now. Say whatever you got to say. You know, say no as many times as you need to say no to stick with what it is that you know you need to stick with. Because the truth is, you don't even need to have a good reason. You not wanting to do something is good enough reason for you not to do something. You have that right. You have the right to not do something if you don't want to do it. You don't have to have something else scheduled. You don't have to have another responsibility. You don't have to have a day that's not completely free. The prerequisite is you not wanting to do it. And that's where we got to get to that space. We got to get to that space. No, for the 5th time, if you ask, you don't have to keep inventing better explanations for a decision you've already made. You do not have to keep inventing explanations for a decision that you made. If you don't want to go, if you don't want to do it, the answer is no. And you're still a good person. You're still a good person after you said no, believe it or not. The last point is, you can't choose purpose without rejecting some distractions. In order for you to be the exceptional person that you want to be, you have to deny distractions. Netflix, text messages, phone calls, FaceTimes, family reunions, birthdays. I mean, like, and those are, I shouldn't say birthdays, family reunions, because, like, it's typically not every day, but I mean, you know, phone calls, meetings, but like, you have to make decisions, because also it makes the moments for when you do talk to your friends, when you do show up for people, it makes it all worth the best. Because the truth is, you really have a time management issue. And once you tell people no, but you still decide to show up for them, then you start scheduling things in your calendar. Then you start planning your days so that you can show up, so that you can dedicate time to these individuals. The scripture for that is Hebrews 12:1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Notice it doesn't say throw off sin. It says everything that hinders, everything that hinders. Something doesn't have to be bad to be bad for you. Something doesn't have to be, it can be innocent. It can be a kid's birthday party. It can be a baby shower. It can be, just a lunch date with mom. It doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, but it's bad for you because it's distracting you from what it is that you need to do. We talk about a lot of what we need to add to be successful, but we rarely talk about the things that we need to subtract, the things that we need to take away. Sometimes we don't need to add any more skills or any more hacks or any more habits, but we need to pull away, take some things out of our schedule, take some things and block out some time to live a more simpler life, to really focus on the things that you need to focus on to accomplish your goals. It's really that simple. So your homework today is to become a broken record. Say no, and every time they ask you, say no again. And you can even express to them, I'm working on expressing myself and doing the things that I want to do, because a lot of times I make decisions based off of you or other people, but I know that I have the right to do what I want to do and not do what I don't want to do. And so we can schedule time to spend together. We can schedule a date to do this or do that. But as of right now, I don't feel like it. And I earned the right to not doing something that I don't feel like. So I hope that helped you guys. It's definitely something I'm going to work on because I'm actually reading a book. The book I'm reading is When You Say No, You Feel Bad. It's a really good book. And it talks about this specific thing. Because in order for us to really be who God called us to be and really accomplish our goals, we're going to have to say no to some things. And that's going to be no to things that people bring to us, as well as things that we just want to do that we have to be more disciplined about. So you already know what it is. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what it is that you're saying no to in the comments. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.